Before I even start this video, I need to say I am a huge fan of what McFarlane does for Batman action figures. I am a huge fan of just collecting tons of different versions of Batman. I know that's one of people's biggest criticisms over McFarlane's handling of DC Multiverse, and honestly, your criticism's valid. He does a lot of Batman, but for people like me who love a lot of Batman, and will take Batman in a variety of weird, wacky flavors, I love what McFarlane's been doing. I love it. And they've been branching out into a lot of other characters recently too, so I think they're doing a great job of serving everybody. I know not everyone loves McFarlane figures either. Oh, they're 7-inch, they're not 6-inch. Oh, they still have pins, blah, blah, blah. To defend them real quick, they are my favorite 6 to 7-inch action figure company on the market right now. I don't care that they have pins because the joints are still durable. Pinned Hasbro figures were gummy messes. I like the 7-inch scale. I think it's just a nice scale. I'm also not the kind of collector that really needs Batman to interact with, so on and so forth. Like, I don't need like all the, toy line intermingling. I'm not that kind of collector. And even if you are, I've got news for you. Hasbro doesn't even use the same scale between their lines. They don't. It's impossible to get things scaled right. But I really enjoy what McFarlane does. I just want to say that right from the get-go. This video is from the perspective of a big McFarlane fan that really enjoys all the different wacky Batmans. And this is also my opinion. This is my top 10 favorite Batmans they've done. This is not top 10 best, because if it was top 10 best, this would pretty much be full of like the same 3 or 4 molds. No, I wanted to kind of, spread the love a little bit and, only feature a mold. I think maximum a mold is featured is like twice. And even then there's like other versions of it that I also absolutely love. But I didn't want to just have it be the same thing over and over again. I wanted to, again, spread the love. I have almost every figure that McFarlane has done for Batman, at least when it comes to unique molds. I don't have everything, but I'm pretty close to having just about everything. And the 2 you're seeing here are just ones I wanted to shout out real quick. I love Todd McFarlane's original design for Batman. This is actually one of the first ones I got, because I'm like, well, if I have a McFarlane Batman, I might as well make it a McFarlane Batman. And it is a really cool, like, tactical, spiky design. I think McFarlane did a good job designing Batman. And this one is my latest one, the Platinum Manga Batman. This is the Chase variant. I found it at Target, and I thought it looked really cool. It looks cooler than the normal one. I don't have the normal one. I just have this one. But I just want to show it off because it's my most recent, and I really enjoy this mold. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Alrighty. So with them out of the way, let's talk about my actual top 10. My number 10 is kind of an odd one. It's not one that I think is particularly great, but I just really like it. And that is the Arkham Knight Prestige version of Batman. Not the normal one, the Prestige. I particularly really like the deco and the gold bat logo on this one. I think the main thing that really draws me to this is that I've become a very big fan of Arkham Knight as a game. The storyline, I still don't really like much, but the suit design, the Batman portrayal, and this figure, I think, does a really good job. The cape could be better. It doesn't have like a lot of the design that I feel like it does in the game. And the paint could definitely be better. He doesn't have any of like the carbon fiber look to the shoulder pads. And I feel like he's a little too flat gray. But the sculpt on this is fantastic. I love having him posed like he's talking on his little wrist communicator. Looks like his I've had him in that pose forever. His shoulder pad will need a little rewarping back. But yeah, I love the look of this one. I couldn't really find this in stores, though. It was a GameStop exclusive originally, and I never saw it. I actually had to overpay just a little bit for this on Mercari. I almost never use them, but yeah, that might be a reason why I really like it, because I actually kind of had to go out of my way to really get this one. Later on, though, my brother found these at Target for whatever reason, and I've never seen anyone else find them at Target. But yeah, I'm going to put them back in that pose. Because number 1, that's how the shoulder pad is kind of configured right now. And number 2, I just really like it. But yeah, I even love the head sculpt too. Looks a lot like Arkham Knight Batman. This is definitely a great one, but not one that's like super fantastic, so he's only number 10. Number 9 is actually another video game one, and I really like the Page Puncher's Injustice 2 Batman. Something about the design on this, the armor, the gray, I just like the look. And again, it's Kevin Conroy Batman, so it's, you know, kind of hard to go wrong. I just like the feel of this one. Again, the armor's really nice. And I've never played the Injustice games. I'm not a fighting game guy. And again, this is from the Page Punchers line, so it's technically based off the comic book for the Injustice games. But I just like this one, dude. Something about this one I just have always enjoyed. It's just a very nice suit design, and I remember like seeing it in the stores at first, and I'm like, oh, that's really good. Do I get that? Do I get that? And I finally decided to get it. I think I went to Target specifically just to see if my Target still had this in stock, and when it did, I'm like, hooray, and I bought it. But yeah, I'd love to see like Injustice 1 Batman done by McFarlane. I want to see more video game Batmans. Like, I really like the game itself is trash. I'm never going to play it. But the new Suicide Squad game, I'd love to see that Batman suit made as an action figure. I just think McFarlane does a really good job with their video game Batmans. I would definitely like to see more of them. Next up, this figure needs very little introduction. It's Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond. This is not a perfect figure. I would say my biggest complaint is that those wings are basically permanently attached. And I would like to have them without those wings from time to time. But just the agile look of it, the kind of slightly modified and upgraded details to the suit. He has the thruster boots. This is just a really cool interpretation of Terry McGinnis. And as a kid of the 2000s, I love Batman Beyond. One of my very first action figures was like a blue lightning Batman Beyond, and I've just always had a soft spot. And this is good. This is really good. I actually got the ink as Batman Beyond first, because when I first started collecting McFarlane, I was like, oh, I don't really need a Batman Beyond because I have the Mattel Multiverse, but nowadays I kind of just, I don't care if it's overlapping. I want them both. So here it is. Here is the McFarlane Batman Beyond. I did get this a little later, but thankfully I found it for a pretty much retail price. That was good. Very happy about that. But there is number 8? Number 8 so far. This list is just going to get better from here. I'm surprised this one's so low on the list, but I just like the other ones a little bit more. Flashpoint Batman is very, very awesome. Just the whole idea of Flashpoint Batman, the story, the design. I love Flashpoint Batman. Some of the only Batmans I chose not to collect were all the Dark Knight's Metal Evil variants. I really just don't like that concept, and I don't think those figures or designs looked any good. So those are some of the only Batmans I chose not to get. But I do like me a Batman that has a different moral code. I did switch out his guns. I gave his original guns to Red Hood, and I gave him these Luger-looking guns from a McFarlane weapons pack. Because I feel like, Thomas Wayne, being a rich guy with a big museum and everything, would probably have some more historical weapons like Lugers laying around. And I do think he looks very cool with those Lugers. I love the head sculpt on this one. I got this like right before it became rare. Like, I was able to get this still available, I think, on Target.com. Then after that, it got really hard to get. I love this one. Definitely one that is pride and joy in the front row of my Batman McFarlane shelf. And yes, I have a whole shelf dedicated just to McFarlane Batmans now. Next up is surprisingly the only live-action Batman to make this list. I love what McFarlane does for live-action Batmans, but this one is just my favorite. The Batman multi-pack Val Kilmer sonar suit. Something about the color of this plastic and just the articulation on this mold. I do have the sonar suit that McFarlane did in the Forever Wave. I do have the whole Forever Wave. And it doesn't hit like this one does, dude. That metallic is just so cool. I do see how some people think it's a little too blue. But me personally, I think in the movie it was fairly blue. I think this works pretty well. I just love the sheen of this. The likeness to Val Kilmer is actually very nice. I do think McFarlane does a nice job with their live-action Batmans. I really like the Robert Pattinson figures. The Christian Bale one's alright. The Ben Affleck ones are pretty decent. Michael Keaton, I don't know. I feel like Michael Keaton really needs, like, the solid neck. But those are still good. I love a lot of the Batman figures. But these are just my top 10 favorites. These are the ones that I really am drawn to for whatever reason. And this Val Kilmer is definitely my favorite live-action Batman figure. Not my favorite live-action Batman actor. Absolutely not. Still a good one, though. I think Val Kilmer is pretty underrated as a Batman actor. I should be getting the Adam West figure in here soon, but I'm not a big enough fan of Adam West Batman. I wasn't worried about waiting to make this list until I got that. I figured he would not be on it. Alrighty, breaking into the top 5, and this one is my favorite interpretation of Batman. This is from my favorite Batman source material. I'm kind of biased here because the figure itself is not perfect. But next up, it's Arkham City Batman. I love Arkham City. It's my favorite Batman story, favorite Batman game, favorite Batman anything, favorite Batman actor, Kevin Conroy, and one of my favorite Batman designs. Unfortunately, the McFarlane figure kind of drops the ball because it's based off the Asylum figure, which is a very early McFarlane figure. But the designs between the Asylum suit and the City suit are not the same. And unfortunately, I feel like McFarlane, they did a good job changing the bat logo, changing the cowl, but they didn't really change everything. They changed the gauntlets, which I appreciate, but I think the belt should have been changed a little bit, and especially the boots. These boots are Asylum boots. They're not City boots. The City boots should look a little bit more like that, instead of, clean with like a big, line through it. Those are definitely not the right boots. But I can look past that, and I can see a really, really nice looking Arkham City Batman. I did customize mine. I did actually paint little eyes in there. And I think I did a pretty good job. I'm actually pretty surprised at how well those eyes turned out. I'm tempted to get the black and white version, just because I really enjoy Arkham City and wouldn't mind having some variants. And they just revealed the Detective Mode 2-pack with the very underscaled Solomon Grundy. I don't know if I'll get that, because the Grundy it's not in scale whatsoever, but it does look good. It's a good, Detective Mode Grundy. It should have been Joker, though. It should have been a 2-pack with Batman and Joker, but Joker would have been all clear to represent Clayface and actually represent that little Easter egg from the game. But yeah, very, very nice Batman. The figure itself, like I said, is dated. He's only got single elbows and they don't even go 90 degrees. But I still have a really big soft spot for it. But it's not a soft enough spot for him to be any higher than just number 5. Alrighty, number 4 through number 1 consist of what I believe to be the 3 best Batman molds from McFarlane Toys. And this is our first appearance of the Hush mold in this video with Green Lantern Batman. So, I know the green plastic and the green paint doesn't perfectly match up. That does not bother me. I think this Batman just looks absolutely sick. One of the biggest things I love about this one is the head sculpt, because I think McFarlane does a great job with very expressive head sculpts for Batman. And this one especially, him yelling and everything, you can just see he's pulsing with that Green Lantern energy. He is just absolutely consumed by it, and he's feeling all of that power. Someone who doesn't have superpowers, he's feeling that power, and it's just so cool. It's such a great head sculpt, and it's such a great mold as well. I mean, it's the Hush mold. I love how the Hush mold has the neck going into the body. I always really enjoyed that. I think that's what they should do for Michael Keaton figures. They should do this, because they could still have head articulation and retain the whole seamless look. That's what they definitely should do. But the Green Lantern Batman, this is actually one of my brother's favorites as well. He doesn't go heavy into McFarlane, but this is one even he had to pick up. There is the whole clear green version. Not really into that. That's kind of odd. It's like if he's making a construct of himself. This is really cool, though. I'm disappointed, though, that the Yellow Lantern Batman isn't that great. I don't know. It's a retool of, the Earth 2 Batman mold, and that's actually, in my opinion, one of the worst McFarlane Batman molds. So, I don't know. I might get the Sinestro Corps one. I do have the Earth 2, so it's I have the mold. But we'll see. We'll see. I also have the Mattel Sinestro Corps, so it's not like my collection is without a Sinestro Corps. Alright, there's number 4, Green Lantern Batman. A very, very awesome one, even though I'm probably a little biased in that assessment. Next up, I think this mold is severely underrated. I have 3 different versions of it, and I think there's a 4th that was in like a 2-pack that's very obscure and no one talks about. But I love the McFarlane Rebirth Batman mold. This mold is fantastic. It's the best head sculpt I've ever seen for a short ear Batman. It is such a great head sculpt. Unfortunately, the digital one changed the head sculpt, and I don't think it looks as good. But still, it comes in blue, it comes in light gray. I personally prefer this dark gray and like the inner purple cape and everything. It just looks so great. But I do have that light gray one, I do have that blue one. But this one here is my favorite of the bunch. I love the Batclaw accessories. It's actually a rehash of the Arkham design. But just something about this mold, it just feels very satisfying to move around. I love the head sculpt. It's just so well executed, if you ask me. And again, I love the inner purple cape. I do prefer me some fabric capes, though. I like the Val Kilmer one, but as they went along, they're starting to add some bendy wires to the capes, and I think that definitely improves a lot of them, as we will see very shortly. But yeah, the Rebirth mold. I mean, just look at that, dude. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Rebirth design at first. I was like, oh, I don't like the yellow around the bat symbol. But it's really grown on me. It definitely has. I am a fan of the Rebirth design now. I'd love to see McFarlane do the New 52 design. And maybe do one in like that gunmetal gray like Mattel did. I love that figure. Alrighty, with him out of the way, now we just have our top 2 left. And I kind of hinted at what they are and what they're about with my comment about the capes. But my number 2 figure is our second appearance of the Hush mold, and that is with the first appearance Batman. Good old Detective Comics. Look at this. Not only is this the, bendy wire cape Batman, but this is the Chase Platinum too. So it has the blue on the inside of the cape. It looks gorgeous. It has some blue shading to it and everything. This Batman is insane. So I love the Hush mold, but I feel like just giving a Batman figure a bendy wire cape just adds so much to it. I love Batmans with bendy wire capes. They're so expressive. I mean, look at this. Look at that. That's awesome. It just makes him look so much better. Look at all the folds and everything in this cape. This is one of the best action figure capes I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so well executed. And it's not just the cape that makes this my number 2 favorite. I am a big fan of Batman's first appearance costume. I think it looks really cool. I like the shape of the ears. I like how it's black and gray. I even like the surgical glove look. It's a cool looking Batman. And I think that I do have the normal one too, but especially having this Platinum Chase with the inner color and everything, it takes it to a whole other level. But there is one other Batman that I think it's so good. It's one of the best Batman action figures ever made. And it's my favorite version of one of the best action figures ever made. My number 1 favorite McFarlane Batman figure is not just the Nightfall Batman, but the battle-damaged Nightfall Batman from the Bane 2-pack. So, if this didn't exist, I think normal Nightfall Batman would be my number 1. But I really wanted to, again, not really have a lot of overlap with molds. With the Hush one, I couldn't help it. I love that first appearance and the Green Lantern too much. But with Nightfall, I love the gray, I love the black and the blue. I have both of those. I even, again, have the manga Batman version. But this, the bright blue with the darker gray, the very subtle shading, the little battle damage tears here and there, and especially the head sculpt. Like I expressed with Green Lantern Batman, I think McFarlane does a great job with expressive Batman sculpts, and I think this one it takes the cake. That gritted teeth, it just looks so good. And like the little blood coming out, the subtle shading and the cowl. And again, bendy wire cape, and it's 2-tone. It's got 2 different colors. It just looks so great. I love the Nightfall storyline. This is just such a great representation of that. And it just looks so good, dude. I mean, this Batman, I think they did a great job with the detail and especially the head sculpt, where you can display this Batman either kicking ass or getting his ass kicked. Doesn't matter which way, this Batman's going to look absolutely insane on your shelf. And he is actually the centerpiece of my Batman collection. He is so good. Oh, dude. I've got a lot of Batmans, but this one is definitely one of my absolute favorites. Alrighty, guys, there is my look at my top 10 favorite Batman action figures in my DC Multiverse McFarlane collection. Again, these are not the top 10 best. If these were the best, then it would be Nightfall, Hush Hush, First Appearance, you know, a lot of repetition. I wanted to give a lot of love and attention to ones that I just have a personal interest in. You know, the Arkham ones, the Injustice one, Val Kilmer. I feel like the bottom half of this list are just ones that I personally really like. And then the upper half is like, yeah, these are objectively some of the best Batman action figures ever made. That's just kind of how the list went this time around. But I'm so happy that I was able to make a video about McFarlane multiverse stuff. I'm thinking I need to bring Batman to the channel a little bit more because it currently is occupying a very heavy space in my collecting life. It's second behind Transformers. Like, I am very heavy into Batman right now. I am loving collecting Batman figures, and they are just cool. I think Batman is the most toyetic character ever made. He's the kind of character where you can make a million different versions of him, and in my opinion, I could never get tired of it. Like, they could literally, like, that Injustice Batman, they could paint it, like, bright blue and silver tomorrow. A color scheme that makes no sense, and I would be all over it. Doesn't matter. I'd be all over it. Batman's just that kind of character. He just makes a great action figure. And I love these. Let me know what your top 10 McFarlane action figures are. Either Batman, not Batman, or just your top 10 Batmans. I did make a top 10 Batman video ages ago. I think pre-McFarlane. Before McFarlane even had the license, I made a top 10 Batman video. So check that out if you want. I'll probably do a redux, but I might not include McFarlane in that because it's kind of overwhelming how many would probably be McFarlane. So, yeah, I might remake that. I might not. We'll see. Let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you want to see an updated top 10 Batman video. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to channel members, as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.